Hi, it's your girl Dana Monet again, and I am here for another installment of The Voice Season 9 recap. And we are in the top 12 for the live rounds, so we're getting there. It's happening. We're already at the top 12. I just want to say, in reference to the results from last week, none of the comeback kids ended up making it, which I think that 3 out of 4 of them had a legitimate chance um, to make it, or maybe should have made it. Um, and I kind of wish that all of Team Pharrell could go through, but out of all of that was left, he probably picked the person I was least excited about, being Mark. So, you know, it is what it is. I thought Ellie would make it. I thought Celeste was going to get the votes to make it. It's only 5 women in the top 12. America wasn't voting for women. America also apparently wasn't voting for black people either, because Mark was the only one. So, I mean, needless to say, the top 12 isn't necessarily my ideal top 12. Let's put it that way. But if that's what we have, then that's what we have. So, without any further ado, I'm going to talk about the performances of Top 12 Night and give you my grades on them and who was my favorites and who I didn't like, and discuss the results, because tonight was results night as well. So, let's get into it. We're going to go in order, chronological order. So, Braden was first, and he sang Renegade. And I have to say that his upper register is pretty good. And he has a nice little rasp to his voice. Just did not believe him as a rocker. Just didn't believe him. He does have nice moments at times, but everything just isn't there. I wonder if he had contacts in this week, because there was no glasses again. But it did sound like he was straining. It's like he doesn't really know what to do on stage, and he sounded like he was running out of breath, and the last note was off. It's almost like the song was too big for him. Now, initially, I gave him a C as a grade, and I kind of regraded everyone, and Braden became a B minus, because I felt like upon second listen, the vocals were kind of okay. And with a lot of these people, the key is to listen and not look at them. It works a lot better that way. Um, for instance, the next artist I'm going to talk about, Amy, singing Hotline Bling. Now, she probably had the most interesting song choice, because I saw the song choices before the show aired, and I was like, oh, she's going to sing Hotline Bling. I was like, they could make a cute little cool jazz version of this. And they were saying that she needs to have an emotional breakthrough on this song. She just needs to have an emotional breakthrough, period, because she has this stoic nature on stage, and it's just not working. It's not working out. It was a little bit too melancholy, and I thought that she looked dead in the eyes. It also sounded like she was running out of breath. I couldn't really understand her on the low notes, maybe because the lyrics were so fast. Somebody blogged that she maybe even forgot the lyrics. She wasn't hitting the low notes. I do wish she was grooving to the music. Maybe that would have helped if she didn't have the guitar. But even when you have a guitar, when you're somebody who plays the guitar, you know how to groove and dance with the music as well. Maybe it was a lot for her to play the guitar and like learn all the words or whatever. But literally, her face was like, I know when the hotline bling, that can only mean one thing. Like, come on, like give a little life. Yeah, I felt like she could have grooved a little bit more. Didn't look so dead in the eyes. Like, I know when the hotline bling. Even smile a little bit. That can only mean one thing. Because that's my jam. So I really can't even sing that song without, like, hey, maybe that's not her jam. Maybe she shouldn't have sang it. But it was a cool idea. And initially, I gave her a C, because I just really didn't like it. I wasn't feeling it. But upon second listen, and the key word here is listen and to not look, it sounded really nice. And she looked very pretty in white. I just wish she would have made it sexier. She needs that advice Rihanna gave her a couple of weeks ago, she needs to really take that in and, being that she's still there, she needs to really take that in and do what she needs to do to bring alive her stage presence. Um, Mark, he sang Against All Odds. So this song choice had the opposite effect of Hotline Bling. I literally saw he was singing Against All Odds and went like really? Take a look at me now again? Like again? Oh my gosh. Don't these people know that the people who like faithfully watch these shows then seen this song performed so many times? This is one of those overdone songs on all of the reality singing competition shows, and they keep on picking somebody to sing it. And Pharrell, of all people, to pick Mark to sing this song. First of all, he was trying to sabotage Mark, and he must have wanted Mark to go home, which didn't make any sense because he saved Mark. Like, you only give somebody Against All Odds if you want him to go home, right? And he ended up going home. Like, you he needed something funky, cool. And if he absolutely had to do a ballad, like, let's not do like an overdone ballad and everything like that, because it's just ridiculous. So anyway, um Against All Odds. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned, upon second listen of Amy's song, I gave her a B. I went from a C to a B because of listening. Just to clarify that. On Mark, honestly, I think Pharrell said something about him singing a gospel hymn because they had to throw something about faith in there. His voice sounded good in the beginning and his tone was nice, but there was a little strained. It was the parts, there's nothing left here. He wasn't like lifting his voice up enough to really hit those notes. And this song was difficult for him. This song is not like in his wheelhouse. It's not his thing. And I hate when people go in the audience and shake hands. I hate it. And then he wasn't hitting his notes, so I didn't like it. So he got a C. And I believe that I upped it to a C plus, and that was mostly for the beginning because the beginning was pretty okay. But that song, I just can't with that song. Okay. Moving on to Emily Ann, and she sang Blame It on Your Heart. I thought it was kind of cute. She was such a teenager when she was talking about her friends liking Zach and think he was all cute. All right, good stuff aside, now let's get to the bad stuff. Maybe this isn't really the right thing to say, and I'm too biased. This is why I probably wouldn't be a good judge on one of these shows, but that song was just too country for me. It was just extra country. And on top of that, I didn't think that she had the sass and the attitude to pull it off. And at one point, it seemed like it was too many people on stage. It was like her and the backup singers, they were like kind of running on top of each other. It was pretty boring, and I couldn't with that. And her voice was good, like she hit her notes, but it was just boring. It was boring. And I know that she's like Blake's like token Daniel Bradbury 2.0, but honestly, I don't see her winning this competition. I don't think that she can win. Mainly because there's another female young country singer that's like way better than her and should make it further, but she's not on Team Blake. So we'll see what happens. I gave Emily Ann a C. Upon second listen, I gave her a C plus. And that was for singing in tune. But the honky dory country, I can't. I just can't. I'd rather hear a country ballad any day of the week. Next was Corinne singing Titanium. And she absolutely looks like a mini Gwen. And then they had to dye her hair platinum blonde. And I still haven't decided whether I like the platinum blonde or not. It's not horrible. I just haven't decided whether I like it or not. I do think that she has a unique voice. It's a nice voice, and her pitch was pretty good in the beginning. It's like she tries to have power, but it's still soft and like not in a good way. Like it's like she's yelling a whisper or something like that. She was running out of breath a smidge, and it sounded like her pitch went a little awry later on. But her voice in its purest nature sounds really, really nice. So initially I gave Corinne a C plus. Upon second listen, I actually gave her a B because I actually thought it was pretty okay upon second listen. I like that first run through listening to these songs, everybody does bad. Because I'm like a really bad critic initially, so that's why I have to listen to them back. So I'm not entirely mad about Corinne getting the Twitter save. Um, I think that she sounded really good on that Nora Jones song. A lot better than her performance of Titanium. Like if she would have performed that Nora Jones song last night, then she wouldn't have needed to sing for the Twitter save. Mark probably still would have needed to sing for the Twitter save, but at least his performance wouldn't have been so dreadful with him singing Signed, Sealed, Delivered. Barrett was next, and he sang Right Here Waiting. He's still a little extra with the facial expressions, but it is mostly in tune. Blake told him to just kind of stay at the mic. Of course, he never does that. The key change, people say he hit the key change. It didn't really work for me, but okay. He sounded out of breath, as a lot of people were sounding out of breath tonight, last night. And he did have a little bit of pitch problems towards the end. I gave him a C. Upon second listen, I gave him a B minus because he has a decent voice and he had a couple of wonky notes, but I could tolerate him. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, as far as Blake's team is concerned, I guess he's probably the best singer on Blake's team. Okay. Anyway, Maddie, who's next, and she's saying, "Who will save your soul?" And I think that she's very mature and she knows what she wants. The interesting thing about Maddie is that nothing about her, with Maddie, nothing about her really says 16 to me. The way she looks, the way she acts, the way she talks, the way she presents herself, the way she sings. I honestly always forget that she's 16. I'm like, she's 23, right? Like, and this is like in the best possible way because nothing about her reminds me that she's a child, unlike somebody like Braden. You know what I'm saying? And this is a good thing. She's just, mature beyond her years. And she's one of my favorites. And I've liked her performances up until tonight. I still like her, but I didn't like tonight's performance. I really wasn't sure about the reggae spin. And it turned out that it didn't really fall right. I think it was a little bit of a timing issue when she came in and the arrangement wasn't able to showcase her voice. A lot of people like the talking moments. I didn't care for the talking moments. I don't necessarily know this song, but based off of what people said online, I'm assuming that it was a ballad, and I feel like if it was, I feel like she should have stayed with that, like that quiet, folksy kind of thing, and then she has power in certain parts like she did last week, and in her knockouts, like that's like her sweet spot. And I understand branching off and trying to do something different, but don't do something different at the expense of your voice, because this song really did nothing for her voice, like at all. And I wasn't feeling it. She like breathed in between a run. It was like, like I can't. If people breathe between a run, like I can't. And she was a little out of breath, and she got a little pitchy. Like her pitch doesn't usually have that many problems. And she didn't really do it for me. So I gave her a C plus. Upon second listen, I still gave her a C plus. So I just couldn't get behind it. I was like, maybe if I listen to it again, like with Amy, no, no. And for the record, loved that arrangement of Hotline Bling. Really did. Next was my boy Jeffrey. Love his little redheaded self. And he sang Let It Go. And it was not the Let It Go Frozen. Thank God. It was some other Let It Go I'm not familiar with, but absolutely I'm on board with that song. I love his voice. I love his falsetto. He had a nice falsetto. I wasn't crazy about his outfit though. I think it seemed as though he got that t-shirt from Adam, only it didn't have holes in it, so maybe he didn't get it from Adam. But his voice is on point. He has this like kick and this push to his voice. Like he really has like the singing version of gravitas. It's like, I hear that word a lot on like Scandal and stuff. It's just, he just has that oomph in his voice and digs deep. I kind of wanted him to dig a little bit deeper. Like I almost wanted him to like cry, but like in his voice. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? Initially, I gave him a B plus. Upon second listen, man, I gave that boy an A. Like his tone is just everything. So that's my redheaded Sam Smith. It's basically what he is. He's a redheaded Sam Smith, but actually, I think his voice is better than Sam Smith. His tone, it's his tone that's just gorgeous. So next was Shelby, and she sang In Color. She went back to country, so it's fine. It's okay, that's her thing. But her voice sounded really good. Now, to compare her to Emily Ann, I mean, in all honesty, it's really no comparison. Shelby is 10 times better. She has this power, and to her voice, like that reminds me like Carrie Underwood and Cree Harrison that was on Idol, who I also really enjoyed listening to. Like she's country, but she can sing other genres. She still has that twang, but she has that power in her voice, and she pushes. I didn't like the whole going into the audience shaking hands. I hate when contestants do that. I really do. It messed her up a little bit. Um, I wasn't mad at the growls. I just don't necessarily think that that song warrants the growls, because normally like I'm all for the growls if you do it right, but I just don't feel like that song necessarily warrants it. um she did hit that big note. I thought it was a little bit overbaked at first, but you know what, she hit that note and it was nice, and her falsetto at the end was perfect. She did this I just that was really really nice. And the timing issue that Blake and Adam kept on referencing, didn't even hear it, didn't notice it. It was irrelevant to me. Like they brought up something that possibly nobody else watching or at home could see. It was just extraness and it was unnecessary. So initially I gave her a B, but upon second listen, Shelby got a B plus because she was going for it, and she's a contender definitely. And if there is going to be a country singer that wins the voice, if there has to be a country singer that wins the voice, she's the one who needs to win. She's the best country singer. Like Barrett, Emily Ann, and Zach are not better than her vocally, and she could sing circles around them. So that's pretty much what that is. Next is Evan, and he's saying This Is It. And Pharrell said something about being natural. Whatever you do, be natural. And I capitalized the word natural because, I mean, people have a tendency to lack being natural on stage, and he got a little corny with it. His voice sounded good in rehearsal and it sounded good on the stage, but his moves were corny. He was moving his hips and I was like, oh no, don't dance. He's like this skinny little, like, where's Waldo looking, like, I don't know, I can't with the movement. Like he needs to just sing. Which he did. I kind of wish his voice was a little bit richer, but it's something about his voice. It gets into this like rasp thing, which I really enjoy. He did strain a little, and but with his moving around, he didn't really lose his pitch. Like he was singing nicely. It was an old song, but he was singing nicely. But the dancing was no bueno. I think people need to understand that being looser doesn't mean to dance corny. It just means to, like Pharrell said, be natural. If natural is for you to kind of just walk from side to side and, maybe do a little two-step, then that's it. That's all you need to do. You don't have to shake your hips. Like Zach did the shaking the hips last week. It made me laugh. It was funny and it worked. He just did a little do. That's it. That was all that was needed, and it worked with the song, and it was good. But Evan, to me, just kind of needs to stand there and sing. I don't need to see him walk around. I don't need to see him do all of that. If he just stands there and sings and focuses on his voice, he could be fine. Jordan was next, and he sang Great Is Thy Faithfulness, and here we go. The Voice loves the religious songs. If you get a religious song on The Voice, you're staying. Doesn't matter how good or bad you do it, you're staying. That's pretty much what it is. In his package, there were some tears, but I love that he started it a cappella. I almost wish he would have did the entire performance a cappella, but he stayed on key when he was a cappella. He put a little run in there when he was singing a cappella. I just really enjoyed that part. His voice was clear as a bell, though. I mean, they've been pimping the hell out of Jordan, but you know what? He is rising to the occasion from that pimpage, and he is bringing it every week, and he's not coasting. He doesn't do anything lackluster. Like, he's still going full throttle, even though they're pimping him hard. And I have to commend him for that because it's not his fault that they're pimping him like that. Like, that's NBC. You know what I'm saying? So it's not his fault, but he's bringing it every week. Um, and a lot of people were talking about how his voice cracked at the top. I kind of like the crack because sometimes I like it when, a voice is genuine and real. And sometimes those imperfections are what kind of make a song for me. So I really liked it. I kind of wish it was longer. I knew he was going to be in the top 10 for iTunes for sure. Of course, one of the coaches said something about the whole Paris thing, and they had to put that out there. First of all, this song was picked before the event in Paris happened. You know, praying for those who lost loved ones in that, by the way. But I mean, they had to do that. So I gave him an A minus, and upon second listen, I believe that he got an A minus as well. So I think that he was really good. And a lot of people don't like Jordan because he's being pimped so hard. And I'm like, you can't blame the artist if he brings it every week. But I do have to say that I do believe that it's between Jordan and Jeffrey. And I think I feel Jeffrey a little bit more when he sings. And plus, I enjoy his tone more. But they both can sing. I mean, it's going to be J and J in the final. They don't really do final two on The Voice, but they'll be 1-2. I would like to see it happen that way. And I think it could. And who got the pimp spot for the night? Zach. Okay, and he sang My Love. And a country artist closing the show 2 weeks in a row. For one of the playoff nights last week, I think that Barrett closed the show. And I don't understand what's going on with these country artists closing the show. Unless it was Shelby, none of them should be closing the show. Okay? That's just, it is what it is. Initially when it came on, I didn't really hear it that much, but it did sound like he was pitchy. I initially gave him a B minus, and then I changed it to a C minus. And then I really listened to it, and he has some major pitch issues. And his performance last week, he didn't have any pitch issues, and he had charisma, and he was animated. This week he was like he checked out. And they put him in the pimp spot? Really? Damn. And he had more pitch problems than anyone else on the night, honestly, in my opinion. He's known for his low notes, and he couldn't even hit those. I mean, his performance was pretty terrible, and the production team should be ashamed that they put him in the pimp spot. I mean, even if he would have hit all his notes, it was a boring performance. I mean, overall, the night was kind of wah, wah, wah. It really wasn't that good, but there were a whole bunch of other performances other than Jordan who could have been the pimp spot. Hello, Jeffrey. Hello. Hi. Maybe they'll make him have the pimp spot next week. He has to have the pimp spot at some point, right? So that was the performances of the top 12. It was pretty underwhelming, but I definitely do believe that there are some front runners that have absolutely emerged in this competition. Before the results show even aired, based off of my personal scoring, my personal bottom three was Mark, Zach, and Emily Ann, with Zach going home. Although I knew that wasn't going to happen because, first of all, Blake's team never leaves first. And, I mean, Team Blake don't go home. They're going to make it to at least 6th place. Come on now. But if it was up to me, that would be how it would have went. Based on America, this is, again, before the results, I predicted that Mark, Evan, and Corinne would be in the bottom three with Mark going home. The only part I got wrong was the fact that Evan wasn't there, which I'm happy that he wasn't there. It was Zach that was there. I was like, oh, is there a chance that he might end up going home anyway? No, of course not, because he's Team Blake. So I kind of knew with Mark and Corinne that Corinne would kind of have the edge. As long as she didn't mess up, I think that she would have the edge. And they both had pretty nice performances. Corinne sang Nora Jones' Don't Know Why, and Mark sang Signed Sealed Delivered by Stevie Wonder. And honestly speaking, just because I wanted to continue to see what Mark can do, and plus there's a lack of color in the top 12, if you know what I mean. And also, I mean, I was looking back at his audition, and I really liked it in his battle round, and I was like, yo, if he could bring this again, you know what I'm saying? I voted for him. I Twitter saved him, but I knew Corinne was gonna get it, and I actually think that Corinne was better in her Twitter save performance. Um, but I kind of did want Mark to stick around a little bit more. But I'm not mad at America for voting Corinne. I hate that The Voice shows the standings. Like we can all see it. Like I hate that. I wish they didn't show where they stood. But anyway, that was it. And there's a top 11. There was only one person that got eliminated. That part I like, although I wish they would have did that last season. Because like a lot of people are saying online, we could get rid of about 5 or 6 people right now that are just so we could do that. But that is it. Oh, and just as a side note, Jordan knocked Adele out of the number 1 spot on iTunes. Just went right past her. Adele and Justin Bieber knocked her right. I didn't think anybody was gonna knock her out of the top spot. That that faith-based music, that Christian music, ooh, that be getting there. And especially with Jordan singing it, word, it was up there. So that is it for my recap this week. And I will see you again next week. Bye.